All right, guys, so I am going to show you the first lesson on our journal pages. If you have this journal, I want you to, or whatever journal you have, I want you to skip the first page, because all of our pages that we're going to be working on in this challenge, oh, sorry, I got to get to one. Look, there's my upside down page. We're going to do double page layouts. So I want you to get to where you have 2 pages, and at some point I'll find my spot here. All right, so what we are going to do is we're going to create the background for our layout to start. So hopefully yesterday you wrote down your list, you got all those voices and lies in your head out on paper, and we're going to start creating our page to put that down. So I want you to choose some colors, whatever colors you want. I'm choosing some bright colors because I love bright colors. So I'm going to be using a teal, and I'm going to be using a pink, and I'm going to be using a lighter purple. And I like to work from dark to light because that way the dark colors don't really cover up too much of the light colors. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to open all 3 of my paints, and I'm just going to start laying them out on the page. Now you can cover the whole page, you can cover a portion of the page. You don't have to do any of this. You can actually just put an image on here if you want to. But for the backgrounds, I usually like to try to cover and create a colorful background page. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take my dark color, which is the teal, and I'm just going to put some dots on the page. And I need to find my rag. And then what I like to do is just spread it with something that is flat, either a credit card or a piece of cardstock paper. I'm sorry, my desk is really cluttered. I should have prepared better for this, but anyway. I'm currently using a hotel card that I saved from one of the hotels that I stayed at, and I'm just gonna smear it on my page just like this. And it doesn't have to be in any design or anything like that, just covering some spots. I'm gonna take my next darkest color, which is the pink, and I'm gonna do the same thing with the pink. I'm just dotting it on the page. Like I said, I use my fingers a lot, and I'm just gonna spread that around. You don't have to cover all the white if you don't want to. I may or may not do that. I may add some other things later, some elements later to help with that. I'm going to do the purple next, and I just pick kind of some of the blank spots to fill it in. And it doesn't have to be dry because it can smear with the other colors. It makes a nice little combination when you do that. So what I'm going to do is, where'd my credit card go? There it is. Okay, smear and combine, and notice how this pink goes over the other colors, but it's lighter, so, or the purple, so it doesn't necessarily cover them up. But if you get too much color and not enough of the top, you get too much of the top color and not enough of the other colors, you can always go back in and add some. So like if I wanted to have a little bit more of the green or the teal, I just simply go in and add some of my colors back in so that they go over the top and end up with basically a layout. Okay, so this is the start of what my background page is going to look like. And then what I'm going to go in and do later is I'm going to add some other colors. I chose this yellow, and what I'm going to do with it is I'm just going to dip the edge of this little credit card here in the lid so that it's on the end, and I'm just going to make some little slide marks with it to kind of give it a little extra bit of another color. Doesn't have to be any pattern. You can make patterns with it if you want. but I just go in and kind of add some elements of, and I can even add a little bit of extra of that color if I want to, if I like it, into the background. Get my credit card all cleared off. So I know it looks really messy. This is how all of my journal pages start. They look kind of crazy and messy, but they end up with a good feel to them once I'm done. And also, I don't ever have a real plan when I'm trying to do a journaling page. I don't plan out a layout or decide exactly what I'm going to do on it. Usually in my live classes, I do plan a little bit more because I'm trying to teach them exactly what we're going to do for that day. But for this challenge, the idea is to allow you guys to decide what you want to do. You can do so many different things with backgrounds. I know that I told you only need acrylic paints, and that's fine, because this will be fine just like this. I have sprays and stuff, so I'm going to use some of my sprays on here just because I like them. And this is the Delusions ink spray. You can get it on Amazon, or you can get it at Michael's or Hobby Lobby, or any of your normal craft stores. So I'm going to spray some of this on there. I also have it in purple. I'm going to use the purple as well, and it'll cover in some of the little white spots, and it's really dark when you spray it on, but as it dries it becomes less bold. And what I usually do is just spray it really good where I want it, let it soak into the page a little bit, and then I'll go back and I'll take my paper towel roll. So I'm gonna let it soak in a little bit there, and while I'm doing that, I'm gonna grab my paper towel roll. And what I do with this usually, let me get it straight here, is that I usually just kind of let this soak in a little bit so that it's got some color, and then I just roll my paper towel across the page, and it gives it a really cool texture too. So as you can see, it kind of makes, I don't know if you can see that in the video, let me see, it kind of makes the paper towel print, see that on the page itself, which is kind of cool. So I'll run it that way, and then maybe I'll run it long ways to pick up some of the ink so that it's not super wet. And then just kind of keep rolling it until it is good and picked up, but it's still got the ink showing, which I really like. So I've got my background colors, I've got my little paint swipes, and then I've got my, ooh, I got a little piece of hair right there. I got to get that off. Hate it when that happens. So I will just pick that up, and then as the ink dries, it's going to kind of lighten a little bit, and then I'll start adding some elements of just maybe, like a lot of times I'll get like just the lid. As you can see, it's really painted up on here because I use this lid a lot, but I'll take it and I'll get a color that I like. I'm going to try this light pink, and I will just dip it. I mean, it does, you can use things from your kitchen. I mean, you don't even have to like have tools. I'll dip it and I'll create some circles with it, and maybe a little like bubble pattern here. And then I'll put that away, and then I'll get like maybe something that's bigger or something that's smaller in a circle pattern, like maybe a pin cap, which usually works pretty good. I have a, let's see, whoops, I have, this is just a little pin cap, and it's smaller, and I can add some smaller circles in there as well, just by dipping it into the lid like this. Now when you use ink sprays like I did, the inks will bleed through your acrylic paint, but that's okay. It just gives it a kind of a really cool like combination color feel, so don't worry about that. There's no mistakes in art journaling. The great thing about art journaling is it's yours, and you can do whatever you want. So don't think, oh, I can't do that. You know, you don't have to do what I'm doing. Do whatever makes you happy and makes you feel like you're getting some of that creative outlet out. My first journaling page, if I look at it now, I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm so embarrassed. That's a horrible page. But the truth is that it was really therapeutic and I really enjoyed it, and I enjoyed it enough to keep going. So it's not about what you create, it's about the feelings that you're able to express when you're being creative. So here's just a really simple background. I'll probably use some stencils with some inks and some stamps and stuff to add to it later, but what I'm going to do right now is just let that dry really good and decide what I want to do next. So my challenge to you today is get your paints out, get a something flat that you can scrape your paints with, and then just play around with your color on a page and see what you come up with. And then after that, we'll work on the image portion and the journaling portion. But for today, we're just working on background. Remember, your background does not have to look like my background. You can do anything you want, be as creative as you want, and use whatever colors that make you feel alive and happy and fun. So I'm a really bright person, so I tend to choose really bright colors, but that may not be you. So don't feel as though you have to do exactly what I did. Okay, good luck. I want to see them. If you have the nerve, please post them in our group, but if you don't feel like you want to post them, that's fine too, but just do the activity, and then tomorrow we'll have another video on adding some elements to the page. You guys have a great day.